Hello again, and thank you for allowing me into your life on your phone, in your toilet, in your bedroom, driving, or even while having sex under a mango tree in some remote area on my beautiful and beloved island of Dominica. I wanted to come back. As you know, I am the source of knowledge and the source of. Sometimes you have to be an advisor to the people, an advisor to the prince, an advisor to the king. You see, in this world, you have to have a philosopher. You have to have people who can think and who can direct and who can be a source, a guide, a moral guide, which I present myself to the world as the one and only ever first Negro, Hasidic, Sephardic, brown skin, Caribbean descendant Pope Peter Emmanuel the First, the leader of Ham, the personal representative of God on earth, sent to break the curse of Ham and to take you out of your misery of barely being a people who have been doomed to fetch water and to carry wood. And that, I must tell you, is the most difficult of assignments that you could ever had. It's like the prophets that they speak about in the ancient times, in the Torah, in the Bible, and in the Quran. And they had to come and indoctrinate people and force people to follow the ideology. Today, I am not using force. I'm not using the sword. I'm not using the gun. I'm not even using the food or the money to try to change your mind and to re-educate you. I'm simply using the power of the pen, the power of the tongue, and I'm not using the tongue to do cunnilingus. I'm using the tongue to give you a message that can help you to be re-educated and to lead you to true liberty, to true freedom, and to true development, and to asserting yourself in the world such that you can be respected, you can be feared. That is my mission. And I trust that I will have enough time, that will not run out of time. I feel as I have gotten older, I have become more passionate and more emboldened to go into areas that we have long ignored. We have allowed the dumbest among us, the most inept among us, to go up and to lead. And that is true everywhere in the world. In no way is it more true than the United States of America, in the United States Congress, and in the Senate of the state of Texas, and in the House of Representatives of the state of Texas. Nowhere is it more apparent than in the city and in the county governments of the various states of the United States of America, because those who are wise and those who are conniving and shrewd know that they can go for these jobs and run in off-year elections and win by a very minority vote and hold a position where they come to believe that it's their own fiefdom. So politics all over the world is a mechanism and a part, a way to get into being in a position of influence and to gain financial gain from it, and don't really care about people. Everybody say they're going to serve. Who are you going to serve? Why the fuck you want to serve? Why the fuck do you want to serve? Everybody want to serve. And then when you serve, you become a millionaire. And then you become a multi-millionaire. Then you put yourself above the people and above God. So there suddenly now you're a king, you're a prince. You're above the people, you're above God. And God is me, and God is you, and God is man. For we were made in the image and the likeness of man. But I want to tell you something. You see, I'm not as learned or shrewd as most of you are. But my day and my time is soon to come. The revelation of the advent of Pope Emmanuel and the deployment of the Mackandal Brigade, the Mackandal Army, and the people who have been re-educated in the ways and the means of Francois Mackandal. I wanted to show you this book because you see, so many of us are devoid of knowledge. The title of this book is called The Prince, and it was written by Niccolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli is a renowned philosopher in politics, in power, and he was around during the time when Italy was a totally divided state. And during the evolutionary course of European politics and European statehood and the evolution of their states. And Machiavelli was there to witness the various fights among the different tribes of Europe. And he coined this book called The Prince. What is a prince and what is the prince? Well, the prince is a leader. He's anyone. He can be a CEO. He can be a general in the army. He can be the attorney general of a country or of a state. But anybody who holds a position of power is a prince. And Machiavelli talks about how a prince goes about ruling over his people or her people. He talks about how you conquer other people and other lands. Because you see, you don't just conquer people in geopolitics and in politics, you also do it in business. So most business executives are required to read Machiavelli, to read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and Machiavelli himself has a series of books on the philosophies of politics, the philosophies of how you wield power. And some is called, I think one is called The Art of War. I think one is called The Discourses. And it's kind of written in the, you have to be really willing to read these books because it's kind of written in the old-fashioned style of how they spoke and wrote in these centuries, maybe 200 or 100 years ago, and in some cases 300, in some cases 1,000 years ago. But one of the things Machiavelli speaks of is of nobility, the nobility of a prince, how a prince carries himself, how a prince distinguishes himself between himself and his subjects, and that is very important. If you look at all the great leaders around the world, or you can call them strongmen, you can call them dictators, you can call them whatever the hell you want, because even if Hitler was a dictator, Hitler came to power by election. Okay, he came to power by election. I believe Mussolini came to power by election. And so you cannot make that distinction. So these guys now talk about the nobility. They say even Mussolini, he was a hell of a womanizer, and I'm told that Mussolini would have sex with a woman and it would last less than half a minute because there's a douche and he was strong like a bull, an Italian bull. And so because of his power and his charisma, and they said he got the trains to run on time. Okay, Mussolini. And that is also my nom de gris, Mussolini. So one of the things Niccolo Machiavelli teaches us is how you rule over your subjects, whether you're running a company, whether you're running a country, whether you're going about the world capturing lands and subjugating people and building an empire. And he speaks about the empires that came before and what caused their fall and what were their errors. And then he speaks of the different type of evolutionary princedoms where you have the hereditary prince, like the monarchy, and then you move towards a republican form of government, and then you come today to the Westminster style of government, and then you come today to the elections, okay? How you can become a prince by being elected. You can be nobody. You can come from anywhere. You can be a peasant. And if you got the right stuff, you can run for elections and you can become prince and you can put yourself above the people and above God by the people themselves. So what does Machiavelli speak about? He talk about things like, can a prince be cruel and show clemency at the same time? And he speak of the qualities of princes, right? What is the quality that a prince supposed to have? And what is the discourse? How does a prince conduct himself between himself and his subjects? And you'll understand where I'm going with this message in a few minutes. Okay? And Machiavelli talk about those people who fight for the love of the nation and those who fight for money, mercenaries. And then how should a princedom, how should your kingdom be measured? Have you really succeeded in building again a great princedom? Or are you a nonsense prince? Are you a prince not to be taken seriously? And how do you go about to acquire new princedoms? And then Machiavelli, if you ever hear anybody ask the question, he asks the question, and it's a fundamental question that every leader has to contend with, whether in business, in politics, or in the military. Is it better to be loved or to be feared? Is it better to be loved or to be feared? Is it better to be loved or to be feared? And if you ask any ordinary person, the first answer they'll give you is that it would be better to be loved. But if you ask me, what will I tell you? I will tell you even what I knew before Machiavelli told me. People love you only when you're doing well. People love you only when you have something to offer them. People love you, and that love they give to you is of their own free will. So if they give it to you freely, they can take it from you at any moment. So the minute that something goes wrong, the minute you're no longer popular, the minute you have some controversy that would be detrimental to your economic success, detrimental to your political success, you will see that the people who claim to have loved you will soon disappear. So you do not have control over the love that someone has for you. You do not have control over the love that your husband says he has for you. You do not have control over the love that your wife says she has for you. You do not have control over the love that the people say they have for you because you don't want them to love you. It is always better to be feared than to be loved. It is better to be feared than to be loved. It is better to be feared than to be loved, for those who fear you will always do what you tell them to do and what you want them to do, because in the back of their mind, with the fear that they have of you, they will wonder what will happen if they don't follow what you told them to do. So a great prince and a strong prince does not want to be loved. It would be nice if he could be loved and feared at the same time, but that is a contradiction. And therefore, you have to strive to be feared and for people to fear you the way they claim to fear God and to fear Jesus. And that way, you can be a strong prince and a powerful prince, and you can build a great nation. And these are the qualities that you'll see that have been exhibited amongst all of the great leaders of the world, whether they were dictators, whether they were genocidaires, whatever the hell they were, from Stalin to Lenin to Pol Pot to Hitler to Ayatollah Khomeini to Fidel Castro, any strong man, even Daniel Ortega down there in Nicaragua, and Hugo Chavez, they had to put instruments of fear in order to maintain their political power and their political influence and to build their legacies, and in some cases, to build a dynasty. Well, what am I really here to tell you? I want to send a word of criticism to the Right Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, the current Prime Minister of Dominica and one of my best friends, whom I've never met. Just imagine, Skerrit and I are so close, we're so friendly, but we've never met. And I want to tell the Prime Minister that his behavior and actions are tantamount to a person who has no sense of nobility and no sense of respect for the office that he holds. A leader of a people does not go into a masquerade or into a parade or into a carnival or into a fete with his wife, nor does his wife go into a fete without him, and to shake her pampalam, and for him to shake his dangling, and for him to even go further. And now he has become an ordinary entertainer on the stage with people who I see and have read or rumored. Let me tell you all, first of all, you have to fear me. You have to fear me. I am not scared of you. I'm not afraid of you. And it is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth plus seven. And in the Israeli calculation is one Arab, one Jew for 1,000 of you. So think what you want to think of me. But I am telling you, Mr. Prime Minister, it's a disgrace. It's beneath your noblesse oblige, beneath your nobility, for you to stoop to that level. And it is a sign. It is a very serious, and I looked into the crystal ball. And you see, when a leader is on his way up, when a leader becomes most arrogant because he thinks nothing can go wrong, they are most arrogant before the fall. And there is a Bible verse for that, but I can't recall it right now. But there's also a Bible verse, which I think is the same Bible verse that actually I think it's Leviticus. Leviticus, it says, "For I am the Lord your God. You shall sanctify yourself and be holy, for I am holy." You hear that? I am your Lord, your God. You will sanctify yourself and be holy, because I am holy, and you are with me, and I am with you, and you shall be holy too. It goes on to talk about the things of the earth that you should not eat. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I wanted to give my dear leader, because you look like you're all involved, 28 years of Creole Festival. How many millionaires have Creole Festival minted amongst the ordinary people? How many ordinary people really find work? Now, the aspect that is missing in the marketing of Creole Festival, you talk about Creole Festival, Creole food, Creole dress, but you don't talk about the sex. And you see what sells in the world today, don't matter, sex and prostitution is the oldest profession, and the human and the animalistic nature for the desire of sex is still a driving force for many people, particularly men who have difficulty acquiring sex. And Creole Festival and those type of things, even when the tourists come, is an opportunity for men in Dominica to get free sex that they don't never get before. I remember a bus driver told me once one of his passengers told him she was a tourist, she wanted to have sex. He said he was so nervous, he was shaking because he never had that approach before. And you see, that's how the foreigners are. They know what they come for. So these people not just coming to hear bands. You know, the first time I ever saw or went to a Creole festival was in 2020 during the time that the late communist Prime Minister Roosevelt Douglas had passed away. But I was here on business. And I remember meeting this English woman who told me all her friends brought condoms except her, to at least say that she was going to be loyal to her man. But all the others had come looking for Toli, for Lolo. And there is no promotion in the Creole Festival to let people, the diasporans and new people and white people, know that they can come to Dominica for sexual tourism. And sexual tourism is what sells. That's what's working in the Dominican Republic. That's what's working in Brazil. That's what's working in Thailand. That's what's working in Vietnam. And those things now have to be calculated as part of the GDP, the gross domestic product of most countries around the world, including the United States of America. In the United States of America, the sex business and the sex industry is big business. Okay? So you talking about crabback, you're talking about crayfish, you're talking about agouti and manico. White people and American people don't know what that is. What you need to promote, my dear friend, first you need to be more respectable of your office and not bring yourself down to being an ordinary person and to be on stage singing with a bunch of wannabe gangsters as if you yourself, well, of course you're a gangster. All politicians are gangsters. Let me make it clear to you. All military groups are gangs. All police organizations are gangs. And yes, if you're going to be strong and lead, you have to be a gangster and a strong gangster, but you got to know how to carry yourself. And even as a gangster, you have to have some nobility about you. And when you go on stage and you say you CO in and you're shaking your ding-a-ling and, and you're up there with a group of people, that is not becoming of a leader. That is not becoming of a prime minister. That is not becoming of a head of state. And there's no way to take it back. You've done it on numerous occasions. You appear in carnival with your wife. You go and you gyrate in public. What example are you setting for the generation? The whole generation has grown up about you. They have no discipline. They have no education. They have no ambition. All they do now is walk around and smoke marijuana and drink cheap rum. No discipline. And you call yourself a country. How can you have a country and a people that have no discipline? You are the one who sets the example. You are the one who sets the path and the direction that the people look up to. And when the children look up to you and they see that you're gyrating and you're having dry sex on stage and you're showing your diggling and your wife rubbing her bottom and her boom boom on you, a fat boom boom on you during carnival, my friend, that is not the behavior and the dignity of a leader. That is not. And when you start behaving like that, you're making a mockery of yourself. You're acting like Boris Yeltsin, who when he got drunk, he tried to sing and dance and then he fall. You're making yourself into a mockery. You're making your office into a mockery. And you're telling the world and you're telling your opponents that actually you have lost your cognitive reasoning function and you are really on the way out. You're on the way out because there's no lower level that you can go down to as a leader than what I just see you do and I just saw you perform and I captured the performance and I'm going to include it with this performance so that the world can see. The world has already seen, but they need an opinion on it. And now the world has the opinion of the highest office, the Pope himself, Pope Peter Emmanuel I, the self-appointed leader of the tribe of Ham, the one and only representative of God of earth for the African peoples who have been sent to break the curse of Ham and to bring the people out of carrying water and fetching wood. And your people are still carrying water and fetching wood. And you want to say they have $1 billion economy. How many containers did you ship out of the island last week with goods and products to sell? That's what I want to know. How many? We have all these containers coming in. They're polluting the island, but how many of them are going out with products? That's what you should ask yourself. Instead of being on stage COing, instead of being on stage and degrading the office of the prime ministership, I believe it's time for you to start thinking of where it is you want to spend your retirement. 20 years of service, not service, 20 years of being able to enrich yourself. No damn politician goes in to serve everybody, wherever they are, United States, Africa. It is the business that gets you money the quickest. And I'm coming to join it. because I still need some treasures. Yeah, I'm still going for treasure. I already have fame, and with treasure will come more fame. But listen, you need to decide if you want to resign and spend your time in Miami, and you can hang out with Julius Corbett and play golf, or if you want to run between Miami and Brooklyn or Miami and New York. But whatever whether you believe me or you don't believe me, I told you I've looked into the crystal ball, and your behavior and actions demonstrates the type of arrogance you get to right before the fall. So the fall is coming, whether you want to or not. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in, and please stay for the rest of the video, where you'll see Prime Minister Skerrit acting as a mockery on stage. I'll see you soon. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. Viva la mouvement de la Macandal. Viva la mouvement de la Macandal. Le Macandal. Victory to the Macandalists. Long live Francois Macandal, long live his followers, long live the conquering army of Francois Macandal, and victory to the conquering army of Francois Macandal, and victory from the chains and shackles of neocolonialism and of the fifth columnists who serve the interests of imperialism and who continue to this day to be imperialist stooges, even switching us from one imperialist master to another for a few tokens. God bless you. I bless you as always, and enjoy this moment of seeing the face of the Lord. I am with you, and remember, I am holy. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. May your week be blessed. And I am your Lord, your God. You shall sanctify yourselves and be holy, because I am holy. I bless you.